The air crackled, didn't it? The moment your eyes met someone else's across a crowded room, a battlefield of souls all clamoring for connection. No words exchanged, no clumsy attempts at charm, just recognition, a jolt that ripped through you like a lightning strike. Your breath hitched. Safe, your heart dared to whisper. It wasn't happenstance, a fluke of fate, or some random alignment of planets. Carl Jung might have called it synchronicity, that uncanny concurrence of inner and outer events which cannot be satisfactorily explained as causally related. It's when two souls, vibrating at the identical frequency, collide, not by accident, but by some profound, unspoken agreement. Rare, undeniably intense, and in that fleeting instant, everything else, the noise, the faces, the world, fades into a blurry irrelevance. The conversations that follow aren't mere pleasantries, they're dives into the deepest trenches of your being. Silence isn't awkward, it's a comfortable blanket woven from shared understanding. You shed your masks, the carefully constructed facades you present to the world, because this person doesn't just listen to the words tumbling from your lips. They feel the raw, unfiltered energy coursing through you. But brace yourself, because here's a truth most people avoid, like a plague. Not every profound connection is destined for forever. Some souls are merely passing through, here not to stay, but to ignite a dormant flame within you. They erupt into your life like a sudden ferocious squall, leaving an indelible mark, and then, as quickly as they arrived, they vanish. Vanish, leaving behind a whirlwind of questions, a newfound clarity, and sometimes a fissure in your heart that never quite mends. So how do you discern, how do you know if this person is a soulmate, meant for eternity, or simply a mirror reflecting your own wounds, your growth, your path to wholeness? Let's dissect this, because some connections are etched in the stars as your destiny, while others are merely lessons disguised as people. And if you can't distinguish between the two, you risk clinging to a ghost, allowing your true guide to slip through your fingers. Chapter 1. Synchronicity. The soul's timing is never wrong. What you meet in another being is the mirror of your own soul. Carl Jung, have you ever encountered someone and felt an almost imperceptible tremor deep within your core? It wasn't attraction in the conventional sense, not based on superficial charm, appearance, or social standing. It was something ancient, something far more profound. Like the echo of a forgotten memory, a resonance your soul recognized instantly. Carl Jung termed it synchronicity, that meaningful coincidence where paths converge not by chance, but through a force far more significant. He believed an invisible tapestry of energy, frequency, and vibration connects us all, weaving beneath the surface of our conscious choices. And when the threads of that tapestry tighten, two souls without conscious planning align in perfect, breathtaking harmony. Most of us believe relationships bloom from logic, shared passions, favorable timing, or sheer physical attraction. But the truly powerful connections, they begin in the hushed stillness of unspoken understanding. They begin in the energetic field, palpable yet invisible, undeniable. That's why you can wade through a sea of 1,000 faces and feel nothing. And then, suddenly, one person walks into your orbit and you feel everything. It transcends the superficial, the trivial. It's a resonance, a soul-deep recognition. It's as if your soul is a grand piano and they strike a key you never knew existed. Suddenly, dormant parts of yourself awaken, not because they conjured them into being, but because they mirrored what was already there. And that's the crux of it all. You don't fall in love with them, per se. You fall in love with the resurrected version of yourself that blossoms in their presence. Perhaps they coax forth your inherent tenderness in a world that's hardened you. Maybe they challenge you in ways that terrify you, pushing you toward uncharted territories of growth. Or perhaps they reflect your buried pain with such stark clarity that you're finally compelled to confront it head-on. That's the magic of synchronicity. It's not about immaculate circumstances or perfect timing. It's about a flawless alignment of souls. They emerge into your life when your soul is primed and ready, not when you're flawlessly healed or when your life is a curated masterpiece. but when you're cracked open just enough to receive a deeper, more resonant truth. Because some people aren't meant to stay. They're harbingers of awakening. They're not your forever love. They're your mirror, your guide, your spark, your tempest. They shake your world, not to dismantle it, but to reveal the dormant potential residing within you. So, the next time someone pierces the veil of your life and it feels like destiny, don't just inquire, who are they? Ask yourself, what facet of myself are they reflecting back to me? Because the soul's timing is never haphazard, and every synchronistic encounter holds a profound message, provided you possess the stillness to listen. Chapter 2. You attract what you haven't healed. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Let me pose a deeply personal question. Have you ever cast a backward glance at your relationship history and wondered, why do I keep drawing the same brand of pain into my life? Different faces, divergent narratives, yet somehow the same recurring heartbreak, the same agonizing abandonment, the same emotional patterns echoing like a broken record? That's not fate, a cruel twist of destiny, or a streak of abysmal luck in the realm of love. That's your unhealed self at the helm, making the choices. What most people fail to grasp is that we don't attract what we desire. We attract what we are. More specifically, we draw to us those aspects that still crave healing within our innermost selves. If you harbor childhood wounds of feeling inherently inadequate, you will gravitate toward individuals who treat you as though you are, indeed, inadequate. If abandonment anxieties are buried deep within your subconscious, you will inevitably fall for those who are predisposed to leave. If your self-worth is built upon a precarious foundation, you'll be drawn to those who incessantly test your value, pushing you to the brink. Not because the universe is inherently malevolent, but because your very soul is desperately attempting to capture your attention. Pain isn't punishment, it's a profound teacher. Every shattered relationship isn't a curse, it's a rigorous classroom. It illuminates where you still bleed, mirroring the wounded aspects of yourself that are still muttering, "I'm not healed." Not yet, but most of us remain deaf to these whispers. We place blame on the other person. We denounce love as a cruel charade. We shut down emotionally, erecting impenetrable walls, when in reality, it's never truly about them. It's about the mirror they held up, reflecting your own inner landscape. Because relationships, particularly the painful ones, are at their essence mirrors. They don't create your wounds, they reveal them. They expose the submerged fears you've buried, the unprocessed traumas you've suppressed, the insidious narratives you whisper to yourself when no one else is watching. And until you gaze into that mirror, not with accusatory eyes, but with unwavering honesty, you will continue to attract the same recurring lessons, albeit in different bodies. The people who ghosted you reflected your underlying anxieties about abandonment. The ones who forced you to chase their affection revealed your ingrained belief that love must be earned. The emotionally unavailable ones mirrored your own propensity to avoid genuine vulnerability. Every person is a message, a symbol. Every heartbreak is a jarring wake-up call. And here's the unvarnished truth. You cannot heal within the same environment where you were wounded. But you can heal by gaining a lucid understanding of why you were initially drawn to that pain. Chapter 3. Not all soulmates stay. There are individuals who erupt into your life like a wildfire, sudden, all-consuming, seemingly unstoppable. They don't announce themselves with a polite knock. They don't await formal permission. They simply materialize, transforming your world irrevocably. You weren't actively seeking them. You weren't even prepared for their arrival. Yet, something in their mere presence resonated with an almost primal familiarity, like your soul recognized them from a realm predating time itself. The intensity of it all is overwhelming. The soul-deep connection, the palpable chemistry, the conversations that stretch into the wee hours of the morning, the silences that speak volumes more than words ever could. And so you begin to believe that this must be destiny. This must be true love. This must be the one. But then they depart, leaving you staring into the void they once so effortlessly filled, desperately attempting to decipher how something that felt so utterly right could vanish with such staggering speed. You begin to question everything. Was it genuine? Was it all simply a figment of your imagination? Were you perhaps projecting a connection where none truly existed? Let me impart a truth that few possess the courage to confront. Not all soulmates are destined to stay. Yes, it was real. Yes, the connection held profound significance. But that doesn't automatically guarantee they were meant to be your forever partner. Some soulmates don't come to stay, they come to awaken. They appear when your soul has fallen into a slumber, when you've forgotten your inherent worth, when you've settled for far less than you deserve, when you've buried your authentic truth so deeply that you no longer recognize your own voice. And they arrive like a cleansing fire, incinerating your illusions, demolishing your false beliefs, shattering your heart so that it can finally, fully open. It inflicts pain because it's supposed to. Growth in its rawest form invariably does. And here's the most agonizing truth of all. We often conflate intensity with destiny, falsely assuming that if something feels overwhelmingly powerful, it must be permanent. But that's not how the intricate tapestry of the soul is woven. Some individuals aren't intended to be your lifelong companions. They're meant to serve as divine disruptions. They enter your life to challenge your ego, to trigger your deepest wounds, to compel you to confront the aspects of yourself you've stubbornly ignored for far too long. They are karmic catalysts reflecting your shadows. They are warnings cloaked in seductive disguise. And if you fail to learn the crucial lesson they impart, the universe will relentlessly dispatch new iterations of them into your life, over and over again. A fresh face, a different voice, but the same recurring pattern, the same agonizing heartbreak, the same lesson echoing like an emotional loop you cannot escape. Until one day, you cease asking, "Why did they inflict this pain upon me?" and begin asking, "What did this experience awaken within me that was in desperate need of healing?" Because every tempest leaves behind a trail of crystalline clarity. Every wound cradles hidden wisdom. Every goodbye creates precious space for your truest self to emerge from the shadows. Some people aren't meant to be the entire chapter. They're the single, pivotal sentence that alters the trajectory of your entire story. They weren't dispatched here to love you for eternity. They were sent to remind you how to love yourself with fierce, unwavering devotion. So, instead of lamenting their departure, honor the role they played in your evolution. Express gratitude for the chaos they unleashed, because that very chaos propelled you closer to the authentic truth of who you truly are. And when you finally heal, when you cease romanticizing pain, you'll come to the profound realization that the greatest soulmate you'll ever encounter is the version of yourself that chose growth over attachment, self-discovery over the illusion of control. Chapter 4. Love begins with wholeness, not hunger. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. We exist within a culture fixated on the relentless pursuit of the one, the perfect partner, the missing piece, the soulmate destined to complete us. But here's an unpalatable truth that demands acknowledgement. No one can truly complete you if you haven't already completed yourself. Because love rooted in hunger isn't authentic love. It's desperation, a corrosive dependency, an ill-fated attempt to fill a void that was never intended to be filled by someone else. You attract what you are, not what you desperately wish for. If your soul is a tempestuous sea of chaos, confusion, and unresolved wounds, you will invariably draw in individuals who mirror that very chaos back to you, amplifying the turmoil. Not because the universe is deliberately cruel, but because it adheres to immutable laws of consistency. This is precisely why the deeply wounded often fall prey to the emotionally unavailable, why the perpetually insecure relentlessly chase those who remain aloof, why the chronically lonely settle for far less than they rightfully deserve. It's not fate, a predetermined path, it's a matter of frequency. And frequency, unlike words, cannot deceive. Energy remains impervious to your conscious desires. It responds solely to your deeply ingrained beliefs, to your inherent vibration, to your unwavering sense of self-worth. So, if you navigate through life consumed by a ravenous hunger for love, validation, and emotional rescue, you will inevitably attract partners who reflect that very hunger, mirroring your emptiness rather than your wholeness. They won't bestow upon you tranquility, they'll offer you intensity. And intensity divorced from stability is a conflagration that incinerates everything in its path. You'll mistake it for passion, but it's merely pain masquerading as love. You'll perceive it as romance, but it's in reality trauma playing an elaborate game of dress-up. Because genuine love doesn't resemble addiction, it feels like seamless alignment. It commences not when you find someone, but when you become someone. Not someone flawless, but someone exquisitely whole. Wholeness doesn't imply that you'll never be triggered or that you will never feel the sting of pain. It signifies that you no longer expect another person to soothe your every wound, to carry the burden of your unresolved issues. It means that you've bravely confronted your shadows, diligently healed from the wounds of your past, and learned to bestow upon yourself the very love you once desperately begged for from others. When you attain wholeness, you cease chasing after individuals who merely feed your emptiness, offering fleeting moments of respite. You begin to attract those who resonate with your newfound peace, those who mirror your inner calm. You cease falling for the temporary highs, the fleeting bursts of excitement. You begin constructing a life with those who cultivate permanent growth, who offer a solid foundation upon which to build a lasting connection. That's not magic, not a stroke of inexplicable luck. It's simply emotional physics in action. Because when your frequency undergoes a transformation, your relationships inevitably follow suit. The individuals who once felt magnetic, irresistibly alluring, now feel discordant, unsettlingly chaotic. Those who once inexplicably ignored you now hold no appeal. And the souls who were destined for the healed, whole version of you, they begin to effortlessly materialize, drawn to you by an invisible force. Love finds you when you no longer need it to rescue you from your own inner turmoil. It finds you when you've ceased asking, "Who will complete me?" Fill the void within, and have begun declaring, "I am already whole. I am inherently worthy. I am already enough." That's when love ceases to be a transactional exchange and transforms into a profound act of transformative grace. Not two broken halves clinging to each other in desperate fear, but two complete beings consciously choosing each other in unwavering strength. So, if you're weary of heartbreak, if you're exhausted by recurring patterns that relentlessly break you open, don't intensify your search for love. Delve deeper within yourself. Heal your wounds, elevate your standards, raise your vibrational frequency. Because when your energy radiates wholeness, your love will inevitably reflect that same wholeness, mirroring the inner transformation you have undergone. Chapter 5. The Illusion of Forever. We are raised on fantasies, on carefully constructed narratives, on solemn promises wrapped in the shimmering allure of fairy tales and wedding vows. We are taught that love, once discovered, should endure for all eternity. We are told that true love never wanes, never falters. That forever is the ultimate goal, the pinnacle of achievement. That if it ends, it must therefore never have been genuine in the first place. But here's the unvarnished truth. Life, in its relentless wisdom, eventually teaches us all that not every soul is destined to remain within our orbit indefinitely. And that doesn't diminish the inherent significance of the connection, because every soul you encounter occupies a specific season in your life, fulfilling a unique purpose. Some enter your life to impart invaluable lessons on how to love with unwavering authenticity. Some arrive to teach you the profound art of letting go, of releasing attachments that no longer serve your highest good. Some serve as reflections of your higher self, mirroring the potential you possess within. Some act as stark warnings, illustrating what you never want to revert to, never want to become again. But none of them are mistakes, not a single one. Even the agonizingly painful ones, the ones that left you feeling utterly shattered. even the ones that forced you to question your inherent worth, your very existence. They were all lessons cloaked in the guise of love, disguised as blessings in disguise. And the true mistake, the catastrophic error, isn't that the relationship ended. It's that we tenaciously attempt to cling to it long after its expiration date, long after its purpose has been fulfilled. We beg, we plead, we chase after shadows, we compromise our values. We contort ourselves into unnatural shapes in a desperate attempt to fit into a bond that our soul has already outgrown, a connection that no longer aligns with our evolving frequency. And what inevitably happens? We suffer agonizingly, needlessly, not because they changed, but because we stubbornly refuse to accept the undeniable truth that we have. You see, when your energy undergoes a profound evolution, when your vibrational frequency ascends to new heights, some individuals will naturally, inevitably, fall away from your life. Not because they are inherently bad, or because you have somehow failed, but simply because your soul is no longer in alignment with theirs, no longer resonating on the same plane of existence. And no amount of desperate effort, no amount of persuasive cajoling, no amount of sentimental nostalgia can force two souls to seamlessly fit together when they have irrevocably grown in divergent directions. It's akin to attempting to squeeze your feet into shoes that once fit perfectly, but now inflict excruciating pain with every step you take. You can force them on, enduring the agony, but you'll bleed for it, paying a heavy price for your stubborn resistance. That's precisely what transpires when you tenaciously cling to individuals who no longer match your vibrational frequency. You bleed emotionally, you suffer mentally, you become spiritually stagnant, trapped in a cycle of stagnation. Because love was never intended to be a prison, a restrictive cage. It was meant to serve as a liberating portal to profound growth, to unvarnished truth, to unbridled freedom. When the purpose of a particular soul connection has been fully realized, you will feel it intuitively. There's a palpable silence, a profound disconnect, a pervasive sense that something is fundamentally amiss, that something no longer fits, even if the cherished memories still evoke a lingering warmth. And that's where true courage comes into play, the courage to let go, to relinquish the illusory grip of forever, to honor the love for what it gave you, and to still bravely walk away when it no longer nourishes your soul, when it ceases to fuel your evolution. Letting go doesn't imply that you didn't genuinely care. It signifies that you value your personal growth, your spiritual evolution, even more than you fear the prospect of being alone. It means you finally comprehend, deep within your core, that you're not losing them. You're finding yourself, reclaiming the fragments of your soul that you had unknowingly relinquished. Because the person you were within that particular relationship was still learning, still searching for external validation, still clinging to the fear of confronting their own soul in solitude. But now you are different, irrevocably transformed. Now you perceive with unwavering clarity that no connection, however seemingly profound, is worth sacrificing your sacred evolution, your personal journey toward wholeness. So, cease attempting to resurrect what has already irrevocably ended. Stop clinging to individuals who made sense for the former version of yourself, the person you are no longer destined to be. Bless the bond, acknowledge the lessons it imparted, express gratitude for the experience, and then walk forward with unwavering conviction, open, whole, and radiantly ready for what awaits you. Because true love doesn't chain you to a preordained forever. True love liberates you, empowering you to become the person you were always meant to be, the fullest expression of your authentic self. Chapter 6. The Mirror Never Lies. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung. It's deceptively easy to point accusatory fingers, to declare, "They hurt me, they abandoned me, they changed, morphing into someone I no longer recognize." But what if the individuals who trigger the most intense emotional responses within you are, in reality, illuminating the very aspects of yourself you've stubbornly refused to face? What if that person who left you feeling utterly shattered wasn't a villain, but a mirror, reflecting your own inner landscape. You see, your triggers aren't random occurrences. Your emotional patterns aren't meaningless coincidences. They're all messages, coded missives from your subconscious mind, whispered revelations from your soul. When someone irritates you, disrespects you, or diminishes your sense of self-worth, don't solely focus on them. Instead, turn your gaze inward and examine what they're reflecting back to you about yourself. Because every relationship, particularly the ones that inflict the deepest wounds, is, at its core, a mirror, revealing the places where you still bleed, the areas where you remain vulnerable, the aspects of yourself where healing is still desperately needed. Consider that person you can't seem to move past, the one who occupies your thoughts, your dreams, your waking hours. You replay the conversations in your mind, dissecting every nuance, every subtle inflection. You meticulously overanalyze the text messages, searching for hidden meanings. You cling to the memory like a festering wound, preventing it from closing, from healing. But here's the unvarnished truth that you must confront. They're not your destiny. They're merely your unfinished business. They didn't enter your life to stay indefinitely. They came to serve as a reflection, revealing your own unresolved issues. And what they reflected back to you was your ingrained fear, your pervasive insecurity, your insatiable need for external validation, your deep-seated belief that love must be earned, that you are somehow inherently unworthy of unconditional affection. You don't require closure from them. You require profound clarity within yourself. Because what you desperately seek in others is often the very thing you're withholding from yourself, the very love you deny your own soul. Their silence triggers your primal fear of being forgotten, of fading into irrelevance. Their rejection triggers your deep-seated belief that you're inherently not good enough, that you fall short of the mark. Their emotional distance triggers the unresolved wounds of childhood, the traumas you've never truly acknowledged or processed. This is not about assigning blame, it's about cultivating unwavering awareness. Because once you recognize that people are, in essence, mirrors, not enemies, you cease attempting to change them, to mold them into your ideal. Instead, you shift your focus inward and embark on a journey of profound self-healing. You realize that every soul you encounter is either reflecting back your inherent wholeness, your radiant potential, or mirroring your deepest wounds, your lingering pain. And both are equally invaluable, because both hold the key to unlocking your next level of growth, to ascending to a higher plane of existence. The fundamental mistake we make is attempting to escape the mirror to avoid confronting our own reflections. We block people on social media, sever all lines of communication, run from difficult conversations, and impulsively jump into the next relationship without first undertaking the crucial inner work. But the mirror doesn't simply vanish. It merely changes faces, presenting you with the same unresolved issues in different guises. You'll encounter the same energy, the same patterns again and again, until you finally learn to gaze into the mirror, not with fear or judgment, but with compassion, understanding, and profound wisdom. Because when you cease running from your own reflection, when you finally embrace the truth it reveals, you unlock your own transformation. You liberate yourself from the cycle of suffering. That's when the karmic loop ends. That's when the lessons finally sink in, and that's when the profound healing truly begins. So, the next time someone triggers you, evokes a strong emotional response, ask yourself, what is this experience showing me about me? What hidden aspects of myself are being illuminated? That's not weakness, that's unbridled power. And that profound clarity, that unsettling truth you confront in the mirror, is the doorway to your evolution, the portal to unlocking your full potential. Because the mirror never lies. It merely reveals the truth you've been ready to see all along, the parts of yourself you've been waiting to embrace. Chapter 7. When Two Whole Souls Meet. There arrives a moment, a pivotal juncture. After all the agonizing heartbreaks, after enduring the toxic cycles, after countless nights spent questioning your inherent worth, something deep within you begins to irrevocably shift. You cease the relentless chasing, you abandon the desperate begging, you abandon the self-mutilating practice of contorting yourself into unnatural shapes simply to earn someone's conditional love. And instead, you embark on the true work, the profound journey of self-discovery. You gaze into the mirror and confront the wounds you've desperately attempted to bury, to suppress, to ignore. You meticulously untangle the insidious narratives of your childhood, the ingrained beliefs that falsely convinced you that love had to be earned through sacrifice and self-denial. You create a safe space for your shadows, embracing your imperfections instead of running from them in shame. You learn to bestow upon yourself the very validation you've spent years desperately craving from others, finally becoming your own source of unconditional love. And somewhere along the way, almost imperceptibly, you heal. Not flawlessly, not completely, but enough to stand firmly on your own 2 feet, to navigate the world with newfound confidence and self-assurance. And when that transformation occurs, something truly incredible begins to unfold. The right soul arrives not to fix you, not to complete you, but to meet you exactly where you are on your journey, honoring your wholeness, respecting your boundaries. There are no manipulative games, no power struggles, no desperate chasing, no anxiety disguised as passionate intensity, just authentic resonance, seamless alignment, and profound inner peace. You don't feel compelled to justify your inherent worth. You don't need to perform for their approval or to be seen. You don't need to fear their silence, because their presence alone feels like coming home, like returning to a place of inherent safety and belonging. This is the kind of love that doesn't ignite chaos, that doesn't fuel the flames of inner turmoil. It calms the storm, it soothes the soul, it offers solace and refuge. It doesn't leave you riddled with doubts, questioning the validity of the connection. It instills a sense of unwavering certainty, a profound knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. And for the first time in your life, love doesn't feel like drowning, like being swept away by a turbulent, uncontrollable tide. It feels like breathing, like finally inhaling the air you've been desperately craving. You laugh more freely, you rest more deeply, you trust more fully, allowing yourself to surrender to the present moment. Not because they're perfect, but because you are whole enough not to shatter if they happen to stumble, because you are secure in your own being. You don't need them to rescue you from your own inner demons. You've already valiantly saved yourself, emerging from the depths stronger and more resilient than ever before. You don't need them to fill the gaping void within. You've already filled it with purpose, with healing, with unwavering self-compassion, with profound growth. So, what happens when 2 whole souls finally meet, their paths converging after lifetimes of searching? Magic unfolds, but not the fleeting, superficial kind that blinds you with its fleeting brilliance. The kind that builds you, that strengthens you, that nourishes your soul. It's not a fleeting firework display that burns out in a blaze of fleeting glory. It's a slow-burning flame, warm, steady, and undeniably real, capable of enduring the trials of time. There's no obsessive infatuation, no desperate clinging, just deep soul-level recognition, like 2 long-lost travelers who have finally made their way home after lifetimes of wandering. You don't complete each other because you were never incomplete to begin with. You simply complement each other, enhancing each other's strengths, supporting each other's vulnerabilities. Their presence doesn't miraculously fix your life. It amplifies the joy you've already cultivated within it, adding layers of richness and meaning to your existing foundation. Their love doesn't merely patch up your wounds. It honors the strength you've gained by diligently healing them, acknowledging your resilience and celebrating your unwavering spirit. This kind of love is sacred, not because it's dramatic or intensely turbulent, but because it's grounded in honesty, effortless authenticity, unwavering self-awareness, and mutual respect, where both partners value each other. It's the well-deserved reward for all the grueling inner work you've undertaken, the hard-won prize for finally choosing yourself, for prioritizing your own well-being. The divine alignment that manifests after you cease settling for the chaotic allure of connection, after you stop sacrificing your own peace for the sake of fleeting validation. So, if you're still in the midst of your healing journey, if you're still peeling back the layers of your false self, still learning to sit with your pain without judgment, keep going, keep pushing forward. Because when you've diligently done the work, when you've made peace with your past, when you've fallen deeply in love with your own radiant presence, that's when your person arrives, not to rescue you from your own life, but to rise alongside you, to reach new heights together. The Carl Jung Challenge. So here's the challenge, the gauntlet thrown down not just from me, but from the very fabric of life itself. Cease searching for love, for validation in external sources. Instead, embark on a relentless search for you, for the authentic self that's been buried beneath layers of conditioning and societal expectations. Because the love you're craving, the deep, safe, soul-shaking connection you dream about in the quiet hours of the night, it's not hiding in someone else, waiting to be discovered. It's hiding within you, yearning to be unearthed. The person you're desperately hoping to find, the one who will finally make you feel seen and understood, they can't truly meet you until you first fully met yourself. And not just the polished parts, not just the curated strengths, the carefully constructed smiles, and the meticulously crafted achievements. I'm referring to the parts you've shamefully buried, the aspects of yourself you've deemed unworthy of love, the deepest fears, the lingering guilt, the pervasive sense of shame, and the unresolved wounds that continue to fester in the shadows. Carl Jung, that insightful explorer of the human psyche, once declared, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." You've been dreaming, chasing phantoms, and seeking solace in illusions. Now it's time to awaken, to step into the full radiant power of your true self. Look inward, delve beneath the surface, and confront the hidden depths. Heal the echoes of the past, those lingering whispers that continue to haunt you. Sit with your shadows, embracing your imperfections with unwavering self-compassion. Tear down every insidious lie that has convinced you that you're unworthy of love unless you somehow prove yourself, unless you achieve a certain level of success or conform to impossible standards. Because here's the unvarnished truth that shatters all illusions. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you've become, the energy you radiate into the universe. So, if you crave a love that's whole, a connection that's sacred, a partnership that feels like unwavering peace, then embody those very qualities. Become whole, become sacred, become a beacon of inner peace. Do the inner work, answer the longings of your soul, and align yourself with the highest version of yourself. And the individuals who are truly meant for you, they won't just appear by random chance. They'll be irresistibly drawn into your orbit by the sheer power of the radiant energy you now carry, magnetized by your authenticity and your unwavering self-love. Not by happenstance, but by the inexorable force of alignment. This is your challenge, your sacred journey, your moment of awakening. Are you ready to embrace it with unwavering conviction? If this message resonated with you on a profound level, if something deep within you stirred as you listened, that wasn't merely a coincidence. Your soul desperately needed to hear these words. It's been whispering for far too long, and now its voice is finally roaring, demanding to be heard. This is your sign, your mirror, your defining moment. No more excuses, no more waiting for someone else to come and magically rescue you from your own life. No more chasing after what's persistently running away from your inherent worth. Now, go and do the work. Face the mirror with unwavering honesty and heal what hurts. Forgive those who have inflicted pain upon you, not for their sake, but for the sake of your own liberation. Release what no longer aligns with your future and rise like the man your younger self once dreamed you could become. Because true growth isn't ostentatious, it's not a flashy display of external achievements. It's cultivated in the quiet solitude of inner reflection, nurtured by unwavering self-respect. If you're ready, truly ready to step into your full potential, then declare it with conviction. I am evolving. Not merely as a fleeting statement, but as a powerful declaration to the world, to your lingering pain, to the limitations of your past. Let the superficial algorithms amplify the noise. You, instead, amplify the truth and stand firmly in the radiant light of your authentic self. Subscribe for more raw, soul-level truths that don't just inspire you with fleeting motivation. They fundamentally transform you, aligning you with your divine purpose. Because this journey isn't about chasing external validation, it's about cultivating a sense of unwavering self-worth that renders you untouchable, impervious to the opinions and judgments of others. And it starts where it always has, from within. No dramatic ending, no insincere promises, just this simple, powerful truth. You already possess everything you've been searching for. Now become the man who finally owns it, who boldly steps into his power, who embraces his authentic self without reservation, and who finally lets go